What's happening, YouTube? Back in the day gamer here. Thanks for tuning into my channel, and today we're going to be talking about 10 NES games to play at Halloween. So, it's that time of year again. It's getting cold, leaves are falling off the trees, pumpkin beer's out. Today we're drinking Southern Tier Pum King. Cheers, YouTube. Tastes like Halloween, but it's getting spooky outside. So I went through the old NES library. Now you know I hate saying NES.
What?
But for thumbnail purposes, that's what I put up there.
Okay!
So I went through the old Nintendo library and picked out 10 games that I'm going to be playing this Halloween season. Now, are these the best or my favorite 10 NES Halloween themed games? No. But it's different than the 10 from last year. It'll be different from the 10 I'm playing next year. These are just 10 good games to play on the Nintendo during the Halloween season.
Let's get this mother crock!
So, let's start off with Castlevania. The game that is not going to be on this list. Nope. Sure, you all expected it to be. It's a staple, either 1, 2, 3, or all of them. But I do enjoy those games. They're really good. They're just not on the list this year. They were last year. They may be next year. This year, they're not. We're going to go alphabetical. So, these aren't in worst to best, best to worst. Alphabetical, okay? That being said, you would think it's D, but Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay, rewind. We're not starting with that one. We're starting with this one, and it was in the Nintendo because I was playing it, and it's just asinine that it starts with an A, but A Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh no, it's an LJN title. For whatever reason, people slam this game, but it is hands down well above average. It definitely fits the Halloween theme. You know, it's a licensed horror game based off a movie, which I have to say seems odd that they made a game for kids out of a hard R-rated horror flick that would give you nightmares if you watched it, if you were in the demographic for playing Nintendo games during this time period. Nonetheless, this game has solid graphics. It's fun to play. The controls are good. They're a little floaty. There's many boss fights, which, as I've said many times, I'm a fan of. As I said, it was in the Nintendo because I've been playing it. I have made it to the end, the final version of Freddy, but I keep dying every time I've got to him, so I'm determined to beat him. That's why it's in the old Nintendo. And I feel this one is definitely not only a top-tier Halloween-themed game, but a top-tier game on the NES itself. Now we're getting to Bram Stoker's Dracula. At first I hated this damn game because I got stuck like a minute in, but once I realized how stupid I was and figured that part out, it grew on me. Once again, it fits the theme and it's based on a horror R-rated movie. The whole game's real dark and ominous. I really like the graphics. The controls are pretty decent. There are many boss battles, which several of them are rather scary. Last Halloween, I got pretty far, but stopped playing it, so maybe this is the year for this one. Next up, in alphabetical order, Dr. Chaos. Don't play this game. Alright, obviously you should play this game, because this is a list about 10 games to play during the Halloween season, but I don't know, this game is pretty rough. It's one of the first games I can ever remember renting. Definitely chose it because of the cover art, which is fantastic. Lesson learned on that one. Nearly every October I toss this piece of shit in, and nearly every year I get pissed that I can't get very far. The controls are fucking weird. We're not gonna super get into it, but they are fucking weird. It's half platformer, half point and click. I really like the graphics on the platforming section. You got the haunted house thing going on with bats and stuff. Very Halloween appropriate. I feel like this was one of those ambitious titles for the early years of the Nintendo. I like it a little more every year when I toss it in, but just a little. Not nearly as much as I like this pumpkin beer. Yes. I don't like pumpkin coffee too much and shit like that. But come October, I'm buying up every pumpkin beer I can find. Next up, Friday the 13th. We all knew this was going to be on here. This is another LJN, not as bad as everyone says game. It has cryptic parts and some old school back in the day shittiness, but all in all, Friday the 13th is a pretty good game. This is probably the first game that had actual jump scares in it. You know, when Jason comes onto the screen or when you find him in a cabin, it gets you. You get a little nervous, you get jumpy for sure. The music definitely plays a big part in that, which is fantastic. The general ambiance of this game is very Halloween-y and definite entry on this list. Not to mention, it's another odd choice for a children's-based game, seeing as the source material is an extremely R-rated movie. Game number 6! No, this isn't game number 6. I don't know what number it is, but the next game on the list is one of my favorites. Yep, I can beat this game. Ghosts and Goblins. Ghosts and Goblins is hands down the toughest game I've ever beat. Which, if you follow my channel, you know I finally did last October. This game is earning a spot on the list because of enemies and stage layouts. You got ghosts, goblins, bats, demons, zombies, in places like graveyards, haunted mansions, caves. All the shit that more or less defines the horror genre. That's all we're going to say about that, because you're all well aware of Ghosts and Goblins. Here's a game you did not see coming on this list. Bullshit. No, you didn't. Ghoul School. Ghoul School. This one's pretty obscure. Many of you might not actually know about it. I think it's become pretty damn pricey just because it's rare. It's a quirky, can't say cutesy, but it's definitely a quirky entry on this horror genre list. But, you know, you've got the spooky ambiance. It's called Ghoul School. You've got your theme-appropriate enemies. Ghouls, monsters, giant eyeballs, shit like that. I have to be honest, I don't have a lot to say about this game because I have never really played it that much. And I always want to at the Halloween time, and it falls through the cracks by playing the other games that I know are more fun because this one doesn't control that well. But I think there's some goodness hidden in this sucker for the Halloween season. That's why I'm throwing it on the list this year. Next up, definitely a spooky sort of game. Immortal. The graphics on this game are super gritty, which adds to the general spookiness of it. The enemies play a big part in the general scariness ambience of this game. Aside from it really looking the part on that grittiness, the enemies, a lot of them are very spooky. Some of the most common, those green goblin or orc looking guys, they're pretty scary looking. So are basically all of the enemies in the entire game. One of the things that always got me, it's kind of a jump scare, but those sandworm kind of monsters that if you step on the wrong tile, they eat you up from below. Always thought that was cool. And you know, like I said, it's a little jump scare. That's another thing that's earning Immortal a place on this list. Next up, we've got Little Mermaid. No, Little Mermaid is not on this fucking list. Not at all. Here's a game that's going to be a fan favorite. I like it. I had it back in the day. It's got a lot of nostalgia for me. It's not one I play very often. Maniac Mansion. So this is another game that's a bit quirky as opposed to general scary, but the music really creeps you out in parts. There are some jump scares in here when the alien dudes that live in the mansion snatch you up. You know, you're all well aware of this game because everybody talks about it. I don't play it very often because the point and clicks are pretty brutal when you don't have a mouse. But this is one of the better in that genre. And this Halloween season, Maniac Mansion's getting a little more play in my Nintendo. Next up, I want to say, well, for this year at least, this is my favorite on the list. Monster Party. Just beat this one a couple of days ago. Finally. So where to start here other than the cover art being fantastic? That doesn't have anything to do with gameplay. You know, Dr. Chaos showed us that one. Enemies. Background. Boss battles. All creepy, scary. Fit the Halloween genre. Except for the fucking onion ring, shrimp, tofu boss battle. I don't know what the fuck that's about. I have always liked this game. I play it every October Halloween season for sure. And every fucking year until this one, I end up rage quitting because that damn maze board is so fucking frustrating. Makes no sense. There's no clues. You just gotta have at it and hope you finally make your way through the fucking maze. And this year, that's what I did. I was like, I'm just gonna keep playing this damn game. I don't care how long I have to play the maze board until I beat it. This is the year. And I did it beginning of October, starting the season off. Cheers, YouTube. Monster Party. Solid Halloween title. You all saw that coming on the list. Last game. Shadowgate. So yeah, another point and click adventure. This is the most Halloween appropriate of the trilogy. We got Deja Vu and Uninvited being the other two. This was the one I chose for the 2022 Halloween season. I mean, it's the ambiance is there, the music fitting. Just it's fucking point and click. Why? I mean, why are we putting point and clicks on the NES? I mean, we're not still doing it, thankfully. All the homebrews I see now, none of them are including these point and clicks, but man, fuck. What were they thinking? They were thinking, let's make a buck. And that's a lot what the Halloween season's about, I guess, right? Like, do we need jack-o'-lantern cups? No, we don't. But I bought them for the Halloween season. So now I have them to drink out of maybe a week or two of the year. The other rest of the entire time, they're buried in the back of the cabinet. So that's going to wrap it up for this list. I had fun doing this. I love my Nintendo collection. I love the Halloween season. And I at least like most of these games. What did I forget? I know we're going to hear some comments. Of course I forgot some. Like I said, I left out the Castlevanias. I left out many others. But that's because these are the 10 I'm playing this year. And I'm determined to beat at least half of them. I'm going to beat Dracula. I'm going to beat Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm going to beat Friday the 13th. I already beat Monster Party. So if I get 4 of them, I beat Ghosts and Goblins last year. So that'll make me happy. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a happy Halloween. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, keep it retro.